Hello, PreAlgebra. Welcome to another week. This week, we're revisiting and continuing to work on evaluating expressions, and we're going to be focusing our work on parentheses and fractions within those expressions. Remember, an expression just means there's no equal sign, and the parentheses and fractions are both ways to group things. So we're going to build up to that. Here's some examples. First, in order to evaluate with parentheses and fractions, first, that evaluation piece. Let's just start with an example. We're working with 3 plus r. We don't know what r is. We know we have the 3 there. As it is, this is as simple as it can get. As an expression, it cannot be combined anymore. We cannot do anything else with it. But as soon as I say when r is equal to 5, now we can do something with this. Our variable, which was an unknown, now has a value. And remember, anytime that there's that equal sign, the way we can say that out loud in English is to say that r is 5. And so what that means is, if r is 5, then wherever we have that r, we're writing in the 5, because r is 5. So what that means is we have 3 plus the 5. We're replacing the r with the 5 because r is 5. That's what that equal sign represents. Now we just have to do that calculation. Plug it in and chug. 3 plus 5, I'm pretty sure is equal to 8, but if at any point you ever want to know for certain, use a calculator. 3 plus 5 gives us 8. So let's build up another layer. Let's look at another example here. I'll keep using some purple. But this time in this example, we're going to be using the same numbers, but I'm adding in an extra layer, which is where our parentheses come in. Let's say we have 3 plus parenthesis -2 plus r, where r is equal to 5. So really, essentially the same problem. The only thing that's different is we have the parentheses and the -2. Our first step remains the same. In the previous problem, our first step was to plug in the 5 for r. That step stays the same. So we put in the 5 for our r. 3 plus -2 plus r5. And we end the parenthesis. What's next is we focus on simplifying the parentheses first. We take care of all of our addition and subtraction that we can within our parentheses, combine that as much as we can, and then we look for our other operations. So in this problem, we have the -2 plus 5. So what is the -2 plus 5? Well, let's go ahead and clear. Let's do the -2 plus 5 gives us 3. And so our -2 plus 5 is 3. And we did what was inside the parentheses. So if I leave those parentheses on, so I did the -2 plus 5, I performed that action, I added them together, the parentheses, if we leave those on, look what we have. 3 plus parentheses with a 3 inside. Our purpose for parentheses is to group things. We do not need parentheses in order to group our 3 that's by itself. That's why you've seen your previous math teachers drop parentheses, and it doesn't ever seem very clear as to why. And that why is because if we're grouping things, we don't need to group something that's already by itself. So we can rewrite this, the 3 in parentheses, as just 3 plus 3. We don't need to put the parentheses on there. If we do, that's not a problem. We can group the 3 by itself, but it's a little redundant. It's saying the same thing in multiple ways. There's just a 3 there. So 3 plus 3 is 6. Now, I have one last layer to throw at you guys. One last example. It's 3 plus. And like we talked about in our previous example, it's just building on the same kind of scenario. We started with 3 plus 5, which came from 3 plus r. Then we went to a set of parentheses, 3 plus parenthesis, negative 2 plus r, end parenthesis. And now, rather than write the negative 2 there, I'm going to put x plus r, where x is equal to negative 2, I know, big shocker, and r is equal to 5. So, what does it look like? It ends up being the exact same problem we just solved. The only difference is we're plugging in more than one variable. We're replacing more than one variable. So x is negative 2, so we're replacing x with negative 2. And r is 5, so we're replacing r with 5. The 3 plus stays the same, so that stays purple. The parentheses are still there. We haven't actually combined anything yet, so that stays as well. The only thing that changes is that x is a negative 2, emphasis on the word is, and r is 5. Everything else about the problem stays the same, which means when we go to combine our like terms, that's also going to stay the same. Negative 2 plus 5 is 3, and then that's still being added to 3. We could have left our parentheses on, but like we talked in the last problem, that's extra. We're saying the same thing over again. We don't need to put the parentheses on there when it's already by itself. It's no longer considered in a group when it's by itself. And so we just have our 3 plus 3 to equal 6. Thank you guys. I hope that helped answer a few questions about working through these expressions with parentheses. Don't hesitate to email me to ask questions. I'll be glad to help.